So this is called The Shortest War Ever by Historically. I just discovered this channel recently, and it's absolutely incredible. Like, seriously, up there with Oversimplified. I don't know what this one's going to be about, because I've seen so many wars described as the shortest war ever.
What's going on?
Wake up, mates. The war has begun, so quickly man the cannons and give them hell.
I'm excited, mate, innit?
I hope you got a cup of tea at the end of the hallway.
Cup of tea, bottle of water.
War? Oh god. Okay, just give me a second. I gotta change it to my uniform, and I'll be right there. Okay.
Wait,
what? Oh, hey Charles. Wait, why aren't you guys manning the cannons? The cannons? What are you? Oh.
Alright, so this is clearly like a World War II era thing. I'm reminded of all the other events that I've seen all across YouTube over the years, labeled as the shortest war ever. There's so many different things. I mean, there's been like second wars, like wars that literally lasted for like a couple of seconds, allegedly. It gets all really complicated, and there's different definitions for it, but let's see what this one's all about.
Oh, you mean the war? Already finished it, matey. The war is over? Yeah, mate.
That was nice.
You joining this round to what? This bloke is about to wager his soul. Ah, bollocks.
I gotta say, I feel like people gotta die for it to be a war. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta have at least one casualty. I mean, technically not. You know, obviously you have to just declare war. This nation declares war on this other nation. And then another declaration of peace. A peace treaty needs to be signed. I guess by definition, that's what has to happen. But meh, if you don't have like a single casualty, I mean, I don't even know if I would classify if you don't have somebody wounded. Or even if you have one guy wounded, is that technically a war? One side got one wounded soldier.
A deal,
is that enough?
Deal, sir. No, wait.
Oh,
Can
what
I go
the
to bed
hell?
again? Historically facts.
Did that guy just get his soul taken in front of us?
5. Welcome to the late 19th century, and welcome to Great Britain.
Okay, so we're looking at pre-World War I times.
The land of industrial revolution, the land of economic opportunities, and the land of overcrowded cities.
Absolutely. London, I just reviewed a video about city expansion and city explosion in terms of population over time. I mean, London was jarring. It was jarring to see London get so many people packed into it when that had never happened historically ever before. So it was kind of scary. I mean, obviously you have to remember in the 1800s, the UK, the British, they were at the forefront of civilization. I mean, the entire era between like 1836 and past World War I is called the Victorian era, named after Queen Victoria of Britain. That's how much they dominated this time period in the eyes of the world.
With many rats. You know what else Britain has many of? Colonies. How many? Very many. Approximately.
I mean, this is when they were at their height, so this is when they controlled basically everything that they were going to control in history.
22% of all of Earth's land area.
I had heard it was 24%. I mean, I guess it goes back and forth. I thought it was actually 25%, but I figured that was rounded up from 24. 22. Oh, they don't have Tanzania yet. Is that why?
It's the biggest empire.
Oh, and they also don't have Iraq because it's not after World War I. Okay, so they're at 22% now, yes.
That the world has ever seen. And within that humongous empire is a small island called Zanzibar, just off the coast of Tanzania. Zanzibar was the trade center of the Indian Ocean, connecting African, Indian, and Asian traders all in one spot.
The Indian Ocean was extremely OP. I guess it still very much is, because it's literally an ocean, like the only ocean that's actually surrounded by land. You know, it's not like the Pacific Ocean. It's like vast. I feel like the Pacific Ocean surrounds the continents, and the Atlantic Ocean, you kind of have, two big land masses on both sides. But the Indian Ocean, it's like a huge N shape. There's so many different countries that border the Indian Ocean.
This made the island crucial for the British colonists, as it strengthened their position in the African trading world. But that wasn't the sole reason the British wanted the island. There was also slavery.
Yeah.
No. The British didn't want to establish it. They wanted to abolish it.
Yeah, the British were very soon in abolishing slavery. They deserve a lot of credit for that. They were definitely before the USA, that's for sure.
Around the year 1800, the British had a change of heart and decided that maybe tearing families apart and shipping them across the world to work till they die of exhaustion wasn't that humanitarian. So...
You think? Yeah, so the British got rid of this relatively quickly.
After a good old talk with abolitionists like Thomas Clarkson, Grenfell Sharp and William Wilberforce, they decided that slaves are indeed also human, and passed a law that made it illegal
Not just 2/3, a full 1 human.
to have slaves in the Great British Empire. This simultaneously resulted in a new spark in the hearts of the British people. We shall free the world of slavery and have every man, and later on maybe also women, made equal.
Maybe. We'll see about that second part, but we're not so sure.
This brings us back to Zanzibar. Turns out, just because the British quit slavery, doesn't mean the local sultan and many traders settled in Zanzibar did themselves as well. And that was a problem for the British, as slavery is very inhuman, and not allowed because of the British law. Now, the easy way to deal with this problem is to immediately force every trader and wealthy person on the island to give up their main source of income so the island would no longer be illegal. But that has a slight side effect of rebelling and guerrilla warfare.
This is very smart of the British. I think, oh man, this is crazy, but you can see a lot of these tactics still used today by nations. I mean, we're going to use this justified cause now to get basically a free casus belli to declare war on any nation we want. We outlawed slavery. If you have slaves, well, we're now incentivized to come in there and blow your whole nation up and take it for ourselves. Those ulterior motives, sadly, that's how a lot of progress was made throughout history. The alternative motives. It's like, yeah, this thing is bad, but also we can do this and make it just seem like we're doing this singular good thing. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm getting at?
And
we're still
we
using
wouldn't
that
want
strategy.
to somehow end up in a war, would we? This brings us to the second, less rebellious option. Admiral Harry Rawson. Admiral Rawson was the chief of command at the Cape of Good Hope station in southern Africa, which meant that he was the head of the British fleet responsible for the waters around the African countries.
That is a lot of stuff to control. I mean, I guess you're just looking at the British-controlled stuff in Africa, but man, this guy's a pretty powerful dude at this time.
What if instead of making slave trading illegal, we just sent multiple ships patrolling the seas around East Africa to intercept any incoming slave ships, effectively causing slave trading to come to a halt without coming across as evil colonists? Sounds like a smart plan actually. But won't the local sultan oppose this? He would, if he could. When Britain acquired Zanzibar, it's not like they walked into the palace of the sultan and said, "Hey man, we want to set up a colony here so we can get richer. Do you consent to this very one-sided agreement?" No. It went more like this. "Hey Germany." Scheiße. "Oh, Great Britain. I heard you're also trying to set up colonies in Africa."
So this is pre-World War I Germany, but it's obviously after unification, so it's after post-1871. So the German Empire, they are the big threat to the British now, especially as they continue to grow closer and closer to 1914.
Yes, my dear friend. And I'll tell you what, if you take
This is also post-Berlin Conference, 1884, when the Europeans decided they were going to carve up this entire continent and take it for themselves.
this part of East Africa, I'll take this, and also this.
And the Germans were going to obviously lose all this as they lost World War I and pay a ton of war operations and things like that. So this wasn't going to stay in their hands forever, and then the British were going to take Tanzania.
If you refuse, I will use my superior naval force to make your life a living hell.
like that
Vas, you make an outstanding argument. Deal.
The Germans at this time, actually the Germans, they never had a more superior navy than the British. That was their biggest thing. Now, if they could just somehow find a way to get that German army on that British island, well, then everything would change. But ultimately, they never figured out how to do that. So they were pretty much at the mercy of the British fleet. For forever. Oh, yes.
Hello.
That is why the Germans they tried to develop their navy so hard. Pre-World War I, when they were building the big-ass battleships, and the British got really freaked out about that. Like, at the moment anyone starts building up their navy, the British freak out, because that is their one trump card. That's the thing that keeps them safe. If anyone has even a navy that's on par with theirs, then their sovereignty is immediately at stake. So the Germans tried throughout their history to build a better navy. They just weren't able to do it. They weren't able to do it pre-World War I. They weren't able to do it pre-World War II, although the U-boats certainly helped. Those U-boats certainly changed a lot about fleet technology and naval warfare.
Sultan Hamad bin Tuwaini, I own this island now.
Moment.
Any objections? You sure? Okay, nice.
I guess
but
so.
Wait a minute. If the British ceased ownership...
Why is all those barrels of TNT right outside the building? Should we be concerned about these TNT?
If the British...
There's right there. It zoomed out.
You sure? Okay, nice.
Yeah,
but wait a minute.
What is
all
all
that? If the
that?
British seized ownership of the island, why is the Sultan still here? To once again avoid any unnecessary warfare, which we certainly wouldn't want to happen, they kept the Sultan in place to create the illusion that the Zanzibaris were still governed by their good old slave-loving Sultan.
Do not underestimate how smart the British were. I think it's easy for us humans. They are still very smart, but I'm just saying that the way they manage their colonies and the way they actually managed to take up and eat up 22% of the land area around this time, they were very geniuses. I think as human beings, we look at, they were genius. I think we look at like human beings from 200 years ago as being like, they automatically have to be dumber. They automatically don't know what an iPhone is, so instantly they're stupid. But that is not the case. Like, the tactics that these people were using back in the day were so smart. I mean, they had to be smart. They were using the geopolitics of the area, just politics as a game, strategy. I mean, just look at like warfare tactics that Napoleon was doing. Like, this man was a tactical genius. That's why, like, I always think about the phrase, we are standing on the shoulders of giants. And usually, I think that's how the phrase goes. Usually that's like a technological thing, but the geniuses that like revolutionized science and all these different ways of thinking in all the different industries, I mean, they were very, very smart people. And if they were given the same resources that we have today, I mean, who knows what type of revolutionary jumps and bounds we could cross. I mean, for the limitations that they had at this time, these people were very smart.
So, in reality, he was more like a puppet of the British to control the population. As long as the local sultan would listen to the British, nothing bad would ever happen.
See, you gotta look back at history and see how countries were managing other countries, and then kind of easily link that to what's going on today. Because let me tell you, people have not stopped just magically using tactics like this. Like, this is kind of written in stone. This is kind of how you, assert your dominance over other countries.
And he's dead. How did he die? Suddenly. AKA probably poisoned by his cousin, Khalid bin Bargash.
Oof.
Gosh, poisoned by a family relative? We have never seen that before in history.
We're specifically talking about China.
Alright, so
but you could go to pretty much anywhere family members were poisoning other family members. I mean, maybe it was extremely prevalent in the Ming Dynasty, but it definitely was happening all around Europe too. Zanzibar Sultan is dead.
So, the Sultan is dead, which means the British lost their puppet. Very upsetting. Not war-triggering upsetting, but still pretty bad. Time to get a new Sultan elected. Here are our two choices. We have Hamud bin Mohammed, a pro-British anti-slavery candidate, or Khalid bin Bargash, the same dude who poisoned the previous Sultan, and not to mention, really didn't like the British.
Seems really simple here, seems simple enough.
Why did he hate the British so much? Well, when Ali bin Said, the Sultan before the poisoned one died, the British, just like now, had two choices. A pro-British anti-slavery candidate, or Prince Khalid bin Bargash. Khalid was the only son of a previous sultan, which made him a prince and, in his opinion, the successor of the throne. The British didn't think so, and favored Hamid bin Tuwaini a lot more. Khalid really didn't like that, and in response to the British denying his sultanship, stormed the palace and barricaded himself inside till the British gave him the throne. Luckily, the British managed to smooth talk the way to Khalid giving up the throne anyway, so unnecessary blood wasn't shed. But now, the same thing happened to Khalid again, and he wasn't about to let his sultanship be taken away for a second time. So, after hearing the British favored Hamoud bin Mohammed over him, he once again, though now with over 3,000 men and women, stormed the palace and locked themselves inside. The British initially tried to once again sweet-talk Khalid into leaving the palace.
We made more cookies.
Khalid had enough of the British and flat out ignored them this time. This was extremely problematic for the colonizer, as they had to get a sultan in power that aligned with their ideals.
This is really reminding me of like the Cold War, essentially. I mean, this is the game that the US and the Soviets were playing all around the world, where you need someone that's going to follow your ideology. You gotta get one government out or choose the right new... I mean, to be honest, we don't even need to go back to the Cold War. We can literally just look at things right now with the way spheres of influence work and the different geopolitical regions that's going on now. You want... If I'm a bigger nation, I'm going to want my smaller neighbor to have someone in charge that's going to like me and not my enemy.
They're asking Khalid to leave again, presumably now with a bouquet of flowers. The British turned back to Admiral Harry Rawson.
So, yes sir, this bloke in the palace is not getting out. You think maybe you could somehow convince him to leave? Yeah, no worries mate. I got you. I'll be right there first thing in the morning.
Is he just going to take all his ships there, basically? Daddy enters the scene. That is what this is called. Daddy enters the scene.
And, for no reason whatsoever, please evacuate all British citizens and merchants from the island.
Oh my goodness, that's already a crazy sign right there. Okay, so we can already tell what this guy's going to do.
See you tomorrow. Oi mate, my name is Harry, and those are my 5 ships. We give you 1 final hour to leave, or we will do it the good old-fashioned way, alright? Whereas Khalid responded, and I quote, "We have no intentions of leaving, and we do not believe you would open fire on us."
Oh, wow. That's... Unfortunately, this man does not know enough about the British. Maybe the British were being too nice to Zanzibar here, because the British will do some absolutely horrific things if you let them. If you really don't think that they'll fire upon you.
Oh, I'm not sure if you should call our claims a bluff, mate. 1 final hour. Do not be a hero.
So back to his ships Harry went, waiting for Khalid and his 3,000 supporters to leave the palace. But as time grew closer to 9 AM, there were no signs of surrendering. Instead, the British noticed the Zanzibar...
Bro, what are you doing? This is it? This is what you guys are bringing out?
Rebels manned the 1 shore battery they had.
Something tells me that my requirement for what is a war in the very beginning of this video is going to be fulfilled here. It looks like we're going to see at least definitely 1 casualty. So I think it's fair to say this is actually a war.
And that a Zanzibari warship began to position itself within the formation of the 5 ships. Very questionable behavior. I sure will...
Very questionable behavior. Oh man, you could say that again.
wonder why they are doing that. Oh hey, would you look at the time?
It's 9 AM, time to party. That's probably what he's thinking.
It's time for...
Well, sir, he gave you an extra 2 minutes as well. Like, you literally played yourself. Wow, this is a fun little video. We're coming to a big old conclusion right here. Let's see exactly how the shortest war ever ends. I think we can make a couple predictions. This is not going to end well for one side, that's for sure.
The gunboats Raccoon, Thrush, and Sparrow simultaneously opened fire at the palace, where Thrush's first shot immediately destroyed the only manned shore battery they had. Even though the 3,000 supporters heavily fortified themselves in the palace, the British high-explosive shells obliterated the barricades and caused massive fires throughout the palace, trapping thousands of supporters in the...
Oh my goodness, this is going exactly how we thought. This is exactly, yeah. You don't become the first biggest empire in history if you're not able to do this.
Toxic smoke. At 9 AM, so 3 minutes after the shelling
my goodness, 3 minutes
started, the only warship of the Zanzibaris started to lay fire onto the big cruiser that Admiral Rawson was on.
The balls. The balls. This man said it with his chest, apparently. This is reminding me of like sometimes when I play World of Warships. It's not a sponsorship, but when I play this, when I see a very, very underclass ship approach me at all. Like,
however, due to the very outdated weaponry and questionable battle ethics, they didn't even manage to create a dent in the ship's hull.
Talk about old Ironside. Now, the British don't like that terminology because that's the Americans had that. We had Ironside. But this is a whole nother Ironside that the British apparently had.
St. George laid fire back.
This exact scene reminds me of how in the Korean War, there was one dude with like, I don't know what he was firing, a rocket, an anti-artillery gun, something like that. He was on this position in the mountain, and he tried to fire a shot at a battleship, and the captain of that battleship had every single gun fire at his precise location, all like 16 guns or 18 guns. So the whole place just got wiped off, the entire map. Whoever was there, whatever North Korean soldier was firing, he doesn't even exist in the same dimension anymore.
And sunk the enemy ship in approximately 4 shots. For some reason, a couple minutes later, 2 small steam launches came to try to take down Trush, but they did it with rifles? What?
The balls of the Zanzibari people. Like, I actually give them credit. This is impressive, the amount of the cojones here to just really think that this was going to go well. Now, to be fair, one thing I'm wondering, is this post-Zulu war? Did the Zanzibari people hear about the Zulu members in South Africa? Did they hear about how they stood up to the British and defeated them? Maybe that's why they have this false sense of confidence?
Just to say, they were disposed of really quickly as well. And that was all the naval defenses that the Zanzibaris had. What followed was 30 minutes of over 500 high-explosive shells continuously fired upon the palace, till one brave Zanzibari climbed up to the roof to take down the rebellers' flag.
Oh, I shouldn't be laughing. This is really sad, but I think we're going to see some numbers here where clearly like 100 Zanzibarian people died and 0 British casualties were taken.
And then the war ended. Yep, the entire war,
30 minutes?
The shortest war in history, ended in just 38 minutes.
38
with
minutes.
Over 500 casualties on the Zanzibari side.
500 casualties.
And only 1 sailor hurt on the British side.
1 wounded. Hey, they got 1 wounded. I wonder if it really is in the leg. I'm sure this is just for comedic effect. Bro, people wonder how the small British Empire, relatively small island, took over the entire nation of India, all of South Asia too. It's not even just India. It's all of South Asia. It's Sri Lanka. It's Bangladesh. It's Pakistan. Do you see how they did it now? Do you see how these colonial powers were able to literally conquer the world because it just wasn't even close? The technological advantage was just so one-sided we can't even fathom nowadays. We can't even fathom. There's been like a massive rebalancing effort by the Earth lore team, the Earth, whoever you want to call it, where now, you do see smaller powers beating big ones. Ukraine and Russia is a good example, but even 50 years ago, I mean, the Vietnamese beat us, the Americans. Now you can see smaller powers beat bigger powers all the time, but in these days, for a very long time, especially throughout the 19th century, no one could come close to the Western powers. It was crazy.
Presumably by accidentally dropping a shell on his own foot.
That's so funny. That's real. I can't think of any other way. Can anyone else? Maybe he heard, like, I don't know.
In the end, the Anglo-Zanzibar War was the shortest and one of the most...
I did hear about this. The Anglo-Zanzibar War. I have seen Anglo-Zanzibar War equals 38 minutes. I've seen like that comment all throughout my time on history subreddits and communities and YouTube and things like that. Okay, so that's the story that we were telling here. That makes sense.
One-sided wars in our entire history. Wait a minute. What happened to Khalid?
That is how important navies are. When you have a navy, especially at this time period in human history, you can just dominate anything, literally anything.
Well,
you don't even really need an army. That is how important navies were.
He ran off. 5 minutes into the shelling, he just left with his rich buddies and sought refuge at the German embassy, leaving his thousands of supporters to die in the palace.
Wow.
Bro, uncool.
Not cool. The oversimplified reference, that's crazy.
After the war, Khalid fled to the German side of Africa, where he continued to live an easy life. till he got captured by the Allies, who were liberating and possibly trying to take more for themselves in Africa from the Germans in World War I.
That is so funny to see them get their revenge. Bam, World War I, obviously, like I talked about, the Germans were going to lose Tanzania, and that was going to go to the British Empire.
And got sent to exile to the same island that they sent
Napoleon
to.
That's
where
so
Khalid
funny.
wrote and sent dozens of personal letters to Churchill, begging to be sent home.
The British literally they just used this island. It's St. Helena, right? They were just continuing to use that island to exile people, I guess. That's funny. I don't know why I never thought of like who else would be sent there. Dude, imagine if the Austrian painter, imagine if Hitler himself was sent there. I don't know what we would have done. We probably would have sentenced him to death, let's be real. But if he was captured in the bunker, and if the Soviets didn't get to him first, I doubt we would have just put him on St. Helena. There's just no way.
Whereas the Sigerman responded by sending him to Kenya, where he died. Epic troll.
There you go. Kenya, also a British colony.
Anyway, 20 minutes after the war ended, Hamud bin Mohammed ascended to become a sultan, and slavery was forever abolished in Zanzibar. This is the bizarre 38 minutes war that caused way too many deaths.
Yes, absolutely. That's really sad because, man, they tried to warn him. The British gave him multiple opportunities, multiple chances. I don't know where the balls came from, where the stupidity, if I'm being real, of this prince, or he thought he was a prince. Like, obviously this was not going to go well. You do not have, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he was there's religious fervor, that sometimes people have, where it's like, oh, God is going to protect me. I've seen that all throughout history. God's going to protect me. I'm not going to die. And that's just obviously not been the case. Okay, so it was 1896, so this is 4 years before the 1900s. Actually, the Spanish-American War was just about to start kicking off. I just want to know where they thought they had any idea that they'd be able to defeat the British Empire at this time. I guess Khalid here just really thought the British weren't going to actually do anything. But of course the British were going to do something. Did he not have any experience understanding the British Empire? Like, obviously, they had to be able to put their money where their mouth was. A war so short that explaining it takes somewhere between a fourth or a third of the time it took to actually fight it. That's a very good point. The video itself is about 33% of the actual war that took place. When has that ever happened before? He could probably have made a video longer than the war itself. Only got to make it 39 minutes. There's duty, there's bravery, there's stupidity, and then there's a Zanzibari man with an outdated rifle speeding towards a modern battleship in a steam-powered dinghy. That is a fantastic comment right there. Yeah, people are getting the oversimplified reference. Bro entered his villain arc real quick. This channel is painfully underrated, absolutely, but he's starting to get more and more credit. I love that. Again, this video was by Historically. Definitely go check him out. I absolutely love this channel. I definitely want to come back and review more stuff, so please subscribe to both. DruuuWu Labubu, Drew's AI girlfriend, LuxembourgLover, LoreTrack, William, Never Change Drew, unless you want to, Nolan, AlexandertheTerrible, NordTyrol, Migloo the Goat, KingBearHaze, Connor Pavlik, Fredrik Tibblin, and Tambre. To all my Patreon subscribers this month, thank you. If you want your name here, check the description down below.